There are a lot of documentary filmmakers out there looking for good ideas, but it's not surprising that a husband and wife team from Maine had a topic all to themselves when they decided to make a documentary about Portland's wastewater treatment plant. What goes down the toilet in Portland ends up at that plant.
The documentary that Alex Wolf Lewis and Caitlin Swaljay made is called Unless Something Goes Terribly Wrong. Where did they get the idea for this film? Well, that's a story all by itself with an unusually romantic twist.
When we were living in New York, we tried to get into a Valentine's Day wastewater tour, and it sold out every year. We could never get in. Fast forward, we moved to Maine. First thing I do for her birthday, I'm going to take you on a tour of the Westbrook wastewater treatment plant. That's where we met Dustin, and that's where we instantly were like, something magical is happening here, and we'd love to make a film.
Dustin is Dustin Price, now the chief operator of the East End treatment plant in Portland.
Positivity.
Positive. I just want to make sure.
Lion face. Lemon face.
The film needed an interesting person at the center of the story. Dustin filled that need.
Every single drop of the worst product known to man comes to this plant. It is horrible. And what we make out of it is clean water.
The more time the filmmakers spent around treatment plant workers, the more they liked and admired them, and the more they wanted to share their story with the world.
I don't know anyone who, as a kid, grew up and was like, I'm going to work in wastewater. Like, I don't think it's necessarily a career you aspire to.
One of the movie's aims was simply to recognize the employees who do the dirty, thankless work of keeping an aging plant running.
I think Caitlin and I as filmmakers, we're kind of tired of these environmental films that make you feel bad. You're like, you should care. You know, here's a sad whale that's dying. I mean, you should care about the whale. But if you kind of take a little bit of a different approach and you say, let me make you care about these guys. Let me show you what their life is like. I think you end up maybe caring more.
We've been up against it for years now. I think this is my 6th year, and I've had 6 months of fully working equipment.
So I think in taking the human approach, the humorous approach, we're kind of staying away from what you might expect in a documentary.
This is an interesting topic because it's about something that is crucial to our everyday lives, but that 99.9999% of us never think about.
Yeah, the film's, you know, what happens after you flush. And I think the whole point of why no one knows about them is because most people don't want to think about what happens after the flush. So you got to figure out a way to tell that brings people in, and that kind of comes back to the human side. You know, see what the guys go through, see what it takes to actually run a wastewater plant.
You're working in a visual medium. Mm-hmm. This is not, say, a podcast. Mm-hmm. So you've got to show a lot of poop. Did you have some misgivings when you started filming, saying, how can we make this into a film that people will want to sit and watch and not get up and leave in the middle of?
Yeah, I think you got to ride that line. There's definitely the yuck, the taboo factor. Nobody really wants to think or talk about poop. So, you know, you give hints of it, and there were times in the edit where we're like, I think we went a little too far, maybe we pull back. But again, there's just so much happening at a wastewater treatment plant.
This treatment plant was one of hundreds built after the passage of the hugely important federal Clean Water Act, whose architect was Maine Senator Ed Muskie. Until that became law, Portland, like countless other communities across the U.S., disposed of raw sewage by dumping it into the ocean. In this case, at East End Beach. In the film, people who grew up in the neighborhood recall what the water was like back then.
Hey, brother, how you doing?
Before there was the treatment plant, it was a big pipe that went directly into the water. The sewer outflow. Lifeguards wouldn't let us swim there, but we always wanted to because it was warm.
The kids had a name for the floating pieces of poop they'd come across in the water.
Harbor trout.
We all learned to swim the breaststroke.
Yes.
So we could push them all away.
The basic plant, the basic equipment, hasn't changed that much. It's decades old now, and this is part of the story, is the strain that the operators are under to keep this plant running with this obsolete, outdated equipment.
The guys are incredible. It's like open heart surgery. It's like the flow never stops. People in Portland don't stop peeing, don't stop pooping. These pumps have been working nonstop, some of them for like 50 years. When things break down, because of that, knowing that you can't stop, I think the guys, it's a very stressful job, actually.
Getting the film made was a project. After 2 years of shooting, it is finally out in the world.
What is this whole experience starting to feel like for you?
Every time you make a film, it feels like a miracle that you get to the end of it. Just there's so many ways it could have not happened.
And then having people like it.
Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't always happen.
Doesn't always happen. So we're super grateful. Yeah.
I think the word for the day is harbor trout.
No. It's so good. And I'm sorry. When I think of Valentine's Day, I don't necessarily think of a wastewater treatment plant, but hey, look what it turned into.
I was going to say, if it hadn't been for that desire to spend Valentine's Day in that way, they never would have made this movie.
So good.
And as we said, people are liking it, unless something goes terribly wrong. Had its world premiere at the Camden International Film Festival here in Maine earlier this year, where it received the Audience Award. It also played at the New Hampshire Film Festival, where it won the Audience Choice Award.